Hi guys, welcome back for another video. Welcome back to the channel, Simply Latrice. And my name is Latrice. And if you're new here, this channel is about retiring on your own terms and defining how you want your retirement to be. I retired at the age of 55 about 6 months ago now. And this is just my journey. If you have not seen any of my other videos, I had challenged myself to do a 30-day needs versus wants challenge. And this is the follow-up video. It's been 30 days now since I started my needs versus wants challenge. And let me tell you, it was eye-opening. I learned a lot about my spending habits, self-control, and what I really value. So in this video, I'm breaking down what I spent on, what I avoided, and my biggest takeaways. So let's get into it. Actually, before I start, I dropped the video earlier this week, so make sure you check that video out. I broke down 5 of the mistakes that I made during this challenge. So I think that'd be very helpful, and it's there for you to watch. And also, before we begin, I do ask that you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. All right. If you're new here, once again, let me quickly catch you up. For the last 30 days, so for the month of March, I challenged myself to only spend on needs. You know, the essentials like rent, bills, food, and just your daily living expenses. Anything that wasn't necessary was off limits. So that meant no impulse buying, no unnecessary takeout, no just shopping for fun, you know. Sounds simple? Yeah, right. And so in my video of my 5 biggest mistakes, I kind of gave a spoiler that I actually did not succeed in staying on track with my budget for March. I had a few things that came up, and I really set myself up to not be successful, not intentionally, but that's how it turned out. So let's talk a little bit about the numbers and what I actually spent on. And so for myself, I go by the 50-30-20 rule when I am creating a budget. I allot myself $3,000. I pull from a retirement account, so $3,000 a month, and 50% of that goes on my needs. 30% I give myself for wants, and then 20 is for any debt that I'm still trying to pay off, and saving if possible. It normally goes to debts. And so this is kind of what it looks like. And so 3,000 is what I allot myself. That breaks down to 1,500 for the 50% in needs, 900 in wants, and 600 for debts. Now I have to say that within this budget, I have different little buckets that I also pull from to supplement, overages and things like that. And this 3,000 is just what I figured that I can pull from my retirement to make them stretch out, and so I do have other sources of income. When I knew that I was probably going to have to step away from my salaried position, I tried to put things in place that would allow me to have additional income coming in. The first thing was vending. And so for vending, let's see, I have my little paper here. For vending, I usually can bring $2,400 a month in. 50%, I use 50, 30, 20 on everything. Once again, I find it to be a good template for me. But within that, it's flexible. I, move around things, pull a little bit from here to put over here. I make it work for me. And so 50% of that is $1,200, and that's needs. So I use that amount to make sure that I pay my commissions and my inventory hauls and any other things that are necessary, like gas. Sometimes if I'm gonna eat out, I try to stay within that little allotment. And then 30%, which comes out to $720, I give myself for income. Like, I have it there so that I can pull from it in order, once again, to supplement my $3,000 that I allot myself. And then 20% I put away, which would be like, for me, for taxes. I pay taxes quarterly, so I try to save up so when I do and I owe, I have money to pull from there. So that's how my vending breaks down. And then I have a rental, and that brings me $1,700 a month. And once again, I use the 50, 30, 20. So 50% of that goes to the mortgage, and then 30% I have another little bucket that I can have money to supplement my $3,000 for anything that comes up that I need to cover. And then 20%, which is $340, I have for debt, which I had some repairs. So $340, I had some repairs that I had to do, so I have a credit card balance for things that I put for the home, so I use that to make that payment, as well as trying to prepare myself for any additional overages on, like, my HOA at the beginning of the year, or any little taxes that may pop up. I try to make sure that I am planning for that, and so that's how that income breaks down from my rental. The goal is to add another rental this year, to add more machines, or just another form of income for myself. And so when I look at how I break down my needs, it's my, let me turn it this way so you can see better. It's my rent, which my rent, of course, or my mortgage is more than $1,000. So that additional that I need, I pull from my other buckets. My inventory is where I pull that from. My vending is where I pull that from to make my rent payment. And then utilities, $220, water, lights, gas. I don't include any streaming services because that's not a need. And then groceries is what's $150. I usually buy, things, and when I prepare a meal, it's just myself, and so I usually am able to, prepackage it into to get 2 days worth of food. And then transportation, gas, I don't have a car note, but I do have, gas, because I'm always all over the place. I do use vending money to help supplement my gas. But also when I go visit my son and things like that, I have a little bit put aside for that, and it usually stays within that amount. And so right off the bat, that totals to $1,570. So I'm like $70 already in the hole, and I pull that from my wants. Wants breaks down to $900, which streaming, fast food, any other additional stuff, I don't feel that I need $900, and that's where I kind of, once again, do a little pulling from that to go to my needs category. and then my debts. And I usually set that aside for things that come up. And I did have insurance policies that came due this month for me. My vending machine liability insurance and stuff like that renewed this month, and of course I need that, so I had to pay that. So I had $600 in my debt category for that. The policies actually came out to like a little over 1,000, and so I pulled that additional money from my rental. And so it was a very tight budget between pulling from my money from my vending and my rental. I had roughly $300 left. And so I had to make that work. I will have to say I am guilty. I did pull out a credit card when for spring break activities that we did. And so that is going to be something that I'll have to figure out for my April budget to make sure that I do take care of that. And yes, it is a bad thing to have credit card debt during retirement, but hey, things happen and you have to go with the flow or get flowed over. And so what I really wanted to avoid, in this challenge was just, fast food every day, all day. Online shopping. I do a little bit of TikTok shopping, not a lot, just a little bit. Impulse buys. I'm not very impulsive when it comes to making major purchases, but also reining in just the little bit, the little bitty things that I do have a tendency to buy, like my coffees, just reining those things in. So now, I won't lie, budgeting is not easy. It takes work, it takes commitment. And for me, something like this challenge, I thought would really make me, get better at it and figure out a good formula for me to be able to make a budget and maintain it. So, once again, when I did my challenge, I did not add in, the activities from my son being on spring break, the additional driving. I usually try to see my son every 2 weeks, and it's an 8-hour drive round trip. And then, we factor in spring break. I still scheduled it to be like the second week that I went, but then we go see my oldest son, which is a 4-hour round trip from picking up my youngest son. And so there was additional spending on gas and eating out. When you go visit someone, and my son and his girlfriend are very gracious, they don't expect anything. I don't have to get a room. I don't have to spend money on food or anything, but you don't want to just be there and not contribute anything to going anywhere or getting something to eat. So I do like to give a little bit when I'm there. So I think that would be like the biggest challenge that I had, was just those additional spending, because I didn't factor in spring break and then the insurance policies. And then let's see, what did I learn? I learned that I don't really have a lot of unnecessary spending. I think for so long I never really had a lot of money, and so I've always been able to stick to spending my money on what I have to spend my money on, and if possible and there's something left, to do a want. But I think sometimes I conflate a want versus a need, and mostly with the eating. Like, yes, I have to eat. That is a necessity, but I don't always have to eat out. And so I did spend a little bit more doing groceries, like 150, which usually I don't even spend maybe 50 in groceries, and things are very expensive, right? So that tells you I don't really go to the grocery store to spend a lot on things. But I did buy things like some steaks, hamburger meat, fish, like things that I really had to cook. And then from there, I was really able to stretch out meals. And I'm from the South, so like I can make a meal out of anything. Like my palate, like I eat everything. And so I don't, unlike my children who feel like they're too good to eat certain things, like I can eat, grits or pancakes or, noodles, like soups. Like I can eat things that will fill me. And once again, I'm here alone, so it really doesn't take a whole lot. So yeah, I think I learned that I don't really spend a lot on wants, but I do have wants that I spend on, so I still need to be mindful. I feel, more in control since I've really been talking about needs versus wants and budgeting. I really do feel more in control of my finances. Unlike when I worked, I had a steady paycheck coming in, and then in addition to having the vending and the rental income, I really had a tendency to not really know where a lot of my money was going. And that's where the Shopify, I was paying for a Shopify monthly subscription, some insurance policies that I didn't need or I overpaid for. And so since I've been on this journey, I've been really mindful of those things, and I've really wanted to make sure I got the most out of my money. So just shopping around. So I think, if you really want to be financially free, you have to have some type of routine when it comes to your money. You really have to know where everything is going in order to get control of your finances. So would I do this again? Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, because I screwed up so royally for March with not adding spring break and, forgetting about the policies, I'm going to continue on in April. I think this will give me a truer idea of patterns, will allow me to actually have a path to continue to save and, add to my investments in order to continue to stretch out my money. Because at this age of 55, hopefully seeing 56 this year, I really enjoy the freedom that I have now without, a salaried position where I'm able to see my son like I want to, spend time with him, spend more time with my oldest, just enjoy, freedom. And so I think I'm going to do a 60-day. And I think I'm even going to put a few no spend challenges in there. So what do you think? Do you think a 60-day challenge would be something you would be up for? Drop it in the comments if you've done a 60-day, 30-day challenge, spending challenge, or if you've done a no spend challenge. Drop that in the comments for me. I'd be very interested in reading that. And let's see. I think this was a very, very valuable little activity. And I look forward to continuing to talk about my journey with budgeting and figuring out new streams of income and saving. I really want to do like maybe like $1,000 savings challenge. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in saving $1,000 within a month on a minimal or modest budget. And yeah, if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification bell so you don't miss any updates. And as always, I thank you for watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next one.